Hello friend, doing something a little bit different today. We are going to be on the KR account, but exclusively for KR content, not to cover something for global. But don't worry, global is still my main. This is like my side chick over here, and I will still be doing all the same coverage for global just as you've gotten used to up until this point. But what I would like to do is add a little bit to the perspective of the other servers. This is not going to be like daily videos or anything like that. Think of it more like content cycles and saying, hey, here's something really cool that came out with this patch that you get to look forward to. Or, hey, look at this really cool character showcase that came out. So inherently, because it's coming from the KR server, this is going to be always a bit of a spoiler. I'm not going to ruin story beats. I'm not going to show you, the big boss fight for a given, palace or whatever else might come. But it's going to have characters and maybe events that might tie to them. But it'll give you something to look forward to so that you know what's kind of coming, further down the line. It'll also serve as a little bit of a how do you fix a scuffed account? And I'll talk about that in just a second. So if you don't mind a like and a sub as I switch this over to my account, we'll get started here. And so here we are, we're in my KR account. And I should probably tell you where I left off with this. So jokingly, I always called my KR account a beta account because I wasn't trying to play from like the min-max perspective. I wanted to experience all the content, I wanted to play with different characters, and I wanted to test certain things. Like if I did something over here, did it make it unenjoyable to play the game? And that's a lot of what informed me on how to do the content in the, guides, if you will, for the global server. And so where I left off was right before Palace 4 came out, and I had chosen to stop at that point. I wanted to experience the stories fresh on global with the, localization and translations instead of what I always joke about with the translations on this particular server. And so I've not seen any of the 4.0 story. I've not really touched anything in Tartarus or anything like that. And I've ultimately not really played this account in the last couple months. I'm behind on events, I'm behind on gems, all those fun little things. I have pulled a couple characters just randomly for fun, but that's really about it. So I want to show you the characters I have, kind of like my social links, my stats, all those fun things, and then kind of talk about what I need to catch up on as I kind of start this series. And this series is probably going to be, every 2 to 3 weeks. I might cover it again like during patch cycles and just see what I'm looking forward to or what has been particularly cool. This isn't going to be, follow everything I do. There's other content creators like, for example, Bladesifer, who is, always on top of KR, TW, CN. Watch them for like the day-to-day stuff. Mine could be considered more like overarching previews. So let's start with what you probably care about, which is what characters do I have? So like I've shown in the past, my cards are probably pretty bad on quite a few characters. I didn't necessarily know as much about the cards when I built my early units. And then a lot of it is I just haven't been farming because I haven't been on the server. But you can see here as I go through all my level 80s, my 80s will also all have level 80 weapons. And so I've got some of the big ones. Like I love my queen team. I've got Cord in there. You've seen her. You got Minami. I've got Violet. I do have, Makoto Yuki is his name. So I've got him maxed out from Persona 3. I have a slow client apparently because I don't know what glitch that was. Let's get back in there. Let's see. We've got Joker, Cherish, On. Mylan's actually better on global. Haru, I just pulled Howler today, as a matter of fact, on just a random 10 ticket, or no, not 10 ticket pulls, on the 165 for the 300 banner. Summer Makoto, Anj, Futaba, Fox, although I didn't use them as much on this account. I did randomly pull Summer Minami, so got her. Regular Rin, and then let's see, who else would be of note? Phoebe, and then I just literally pulled Summer Puppet, the brand new unit. It took me almost the entirety of the 110 pity, and I had actually meant to pull on the 50-50 banner, and I figured it out like halfway through I was on the wrong banner. Now, unfortunately, I only have her 4-star weapon, so I'm not rocking the 5-star. And then I've got Figure Skater Mont, new standard character, and let's see, everyone else is pretty much anybody you can get on our current server. The ones I'm missing that I would particularly want is Winvast. Is that how I say it? Winvast, Chinese New Year Rin, and then Summer Matoha. I would like to get her, but she's super low priority. I don't have Mace, I don't have Yui. I'd like to get Turbo. I missed out on Barry, I don't have Akechi. Really bummed I don't have Akihiko. But there's quite a few characters I just don't have because, again, I wasn't actively playing the server for a little while there. Most of my characters, like I said, don't have great cards, and I'm in a situation where I'm, as always, out of materials, and so I'm farming the dailies to get things like my skill ups, you know, for key units. So it's a mix of having units, having some weapons, not all weapons, and having some skills leveled, but not all skills. Matter of fact, I can actually show you really quickly the weapons. So as you go through, you'll see the 5 stars. But let's see, I've got Chords, Vinos. It's really laggy on the server for me. Don't have hers, I have Minami's. I have Violet's. I actually ran Violet without her weapon for months. I got it on a rerun, and she is still a destructive force even without her weapon. Joker's, I got his. Cherishes, I think I got randomly. Ons. Haru's, I pulled. I actually put hers as a consolation prize long before I ever got her. And that was because I knew I'd eventually get her from the standard just by pure luck, which, you know, now I've got her. And so it was nice to have her weapon waiting. Some Moko's. Hers is less necessary. Anj and Futaba I have. Morgana's, because I didn't know anything about characters back then. I don't have Yusuke's, sadly. I don't have Summer Minami's. A lot of the standard ones, like you get a lot of the standard ones just from losing 50-50s. Ironically, I don't have Leo's. Phoebe's. And I think that's about it, yeah. So those are all the weapons. Those are my characters, those are the weapons. And it allows me to build quite a few good teams, but it's also missing quite a few of the quote-unquote top-tier meta characters, like not having Winvast, not having Chinese New Year Rin, not having Turbo, not having Barry. Like these are all characters that are very, very good. Yukari's like a great healer, but Akihiko is a really good damage dealer. So there's quite a few characters that I wish I would have, but this is a free-to-play account, and it's going to be very realistic to what other free-to-plays might have. I think related to that is my pool strategy now. So what I've decided to do on this side of the servers is I'm going to stick exclusively to the 50-50 banners going forward. Like I said, I meant to do that on Puppet, and I clicked the wrong thing. And when a new character comes out, I'm just going to pull for them during their cycle. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. If I get them, I'll come down to their weapon, and with coins, I'll try to pull their weapon. I'm not going to use the gems because you got to find the balance somewhere as free to play. And we're just going to see, you know, what I get on the account, and we're going to make it work. And there's some things that are going to be harder because we don't have, you know, certain characters or certain, you know, weapons for those characters. But again, this is free to play, so it's a very, I think, realistic and healthy approach to how you pull. And given that this is the KR server, it's not going to have the 1 year of foresight to say, hey, I know XYZ character is like the best thing since, you know, banana bread from grandma. And so it gives me a little bit of freedom to just screw around, honestly, which I'm okay with. So then let's talk about content. So, well, actually, before content, we'll go through a couple other just really quick things. So my palace, I think I'm getting close to 40 on this, if it ever loads. I might actually be doing better on my global one, or very close to better, but I want to say I'm like 39 or 40. Or 38, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm actually about the same. Or no, I'm almost 35 on global. So that's getting up there, nothing too crazy. I mean, you can't really mess up the palace unless you just don't do it. So I've got that. I won't talk about Tycoon and rankings in Tycoon. That's the card game. That's more for fun and some extra materials. Oh my God, there we go. Okay, and then for my social stats, so if I come in here, I've got quite a bit of money, but you can see like my social stats are pretty average. Again, I'm actually probably getting closer to better with the exception of these two on my global server, but like these are all pretty average. And then what I had done on this is actually focus in on getting the gems. And so if you go to my social links, you'll see up here, like most of them are 14. And so you basically push them up there to get the gems. And then, you know, I'll go back and kind of cycle through. So you can see like who I focused down and who I haven't. I just put Yumi back into priority so I can get her to 17. But I've got most of them to the point that I've got all their gems. So not too bad here. But that's why a lot of my stats are what they are, is because I was just trying to push to certain levels. A lot of work to be done there. There's a lot of scuffed stuff on this particular server. I have all the regular personas. I don't have all the shop purchase personas. I actually don't have many of the shop purchase personas. I have the ones for like Haru, Violet, Bishamoten for Queen, probably a couple others I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. And then that brings us again to content. So metaverse wise, I finished everything Palace 3. So that was 100%. And I have yet to start the story for Palace 4. I'm going to do the story, but I'm not going to read it. I'm going to skip all the cutscenes, all the story bits. I mean, obviously there's some things I'll figure out just by watching what's going on, but I'm not going to read anything. And I'm just going to do that so I can catch up on the content and clear that all out, open up confidants, all this stuff that kind of comes with it. So that'll be one of my next big targets. I am about to be out of this cycle. I need to start pushing Astrolab some more. So you can see like I've done like one node for this round and it ends in 2 days. I'll probably bust out 1 or 2 nodes. I'm not gonna get this whole thing done. And then I'll just take it for the next season. Whatever, not a big deal. I'll be missing some mats, but those mats take forever to farm anyways. I left my guild today. Apparently I was the leader because the leader left and made me the leader. And then 2 other people haven't been there in 400 and something days. So tomorrow I'll look for a new guild. My metro is full level, but not all achievements. So I'll go back and get the achievements to get those last few gems. What else? Velvet Trials. Velvet Trials are way easier on the other servers. And I'll show you why. So on the other servers, you get to use both elements on every fight. On the global server, it's like one or the other, like you've seen. And so if you just have an on team, you can get through the whole fire thing. This is one of the probably more controversial changes in global. It's one of my least favorite changes in global, to be honest with you, because it just limits so many teams. But in any case, I have all these done. And then the technician stages, these actually go to 40. And I think we stop a little bit higher. And so I've got some more work to do here. I need to go up and clean up some of these stars. You can kind of see where I started like slacking or just not going back and pushing it. So I can go get some more rewards. I've got everything that Wonder needs to level, and I've got everything for Yanosek. So this is all just like joy coins, you know, things that are kind of like in that realm. But not too bad. Most of my Velvet Trial is done. And as far as events, there's 2 big things I'm missing. So this is our current event, which is this like summer, I don't know, festival beach house thing. It's actually really neat. So I need to go through and level my entire thing to open up all these different stories. And then there's also like the shark fight, which looks wicked cool. And I haven't even, oops, God, this is all buggy today. I haven't even touched this yet. Like you can see I haven't even done level 1, but look at this dude. The dude is freaking awesome looking. So I need to go through and get as many rewards as I can, but this goes all the way down to, 31. So I'm getting close to where I need to, well, actually that opens in 5 days. I'm getting close to where I really need to kind of focus down specific things to catch up. And so I've got a good amount of content ahead of me. The other thing that I have not done on here yet is, I need to go back to events really quick, is I haven't done Tartarus. I know all about it. I have definitely, this is like the collaboration. I've definitely watched a lot of content on it. And this is like its own little roguelike mode. And you bring like their characters, like you're not taking your characters in here, which is pretty neat. And so you can see I've done all of 1 of 18 chapters to start. I've done nothing in this. And so this is the kind of thing I'll just chip away at in the background for fun. Maybe I'll do a stream here and there where if like global is slow and I've done everything, you can watch me do some of this. But all the other like Take Your Heart, P5R, like this stuff's all done. I've done all that on streams before. So that's the content that I'm behind on. So a lot of it, and I can get a lot of gems from it, thankfully. And I think with that, I'll be in a good place to like start pulling other characters. I think where I'll lack on this account is probably more in the weapon area because, just the way that luck plays out, if I'm not just grabbing characters in like the first 50-50, I mean, you're playing the game, then I've got to give up somewhere. And I would rather have a character with no weapon than a character and a weapon than miss the next 2 characters. I'd rather play kits than worry about weapons. And we'll see. And just like I did with Violet, I can always get the weapon later on a rerun. It's not the end of the world. You'll still do fine on content. You just won't have the top score ever. So that's the rundown of my KR account. I think I covered everything. And if not, just let me know. And yeah, so I would say, expect updates on this every, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe close to a month. It's going to be tied more to the content cycles, and I'll be able to tell you, hey, this is why I did the catch up. This is how I fixed some of my mistakes. This is how I cleaned up these characters. And here's the content I loved. And if there's something I didn't like, I'll let you know. Hey, you know what? This feature over here didn't do it for me. But that's it. That's it, my friends. Let me know how often you want to see the KR content and if there's certain things you would like me to demonstrate from it. I'm not going to do daily videos. Like I said, if you want that, go for like a Bladesifer who's going to be always covering the new servers. And until our next video or live stream, please take care of yourselves.